Welcome to another episode of Profit Partners. I'm here with Nick Penev, who's probably one of the most interesting people I've ever met and probably one of the funniest people I've ever met. And that's coming from me. So Nick, how you doing?
Okay, man. Funny. You're saying that, but you're probably one of the funniest that I've met. You're one of the proactive guys which are laughing and making me laugh. So it's a good compliment from guys who is funny. But yes, people say that I'm funny.
Thank
So
you. Thank you. You're too
yeah,
too much
I'll,
fun.
I'll tell you a real joke before we
All right.
start. When I was in high school, I was hanging out with my friends. We're actually in a pub. We could drink even though we're under 18, and
Well,
it was many of my friends like 12 or more. I was telling jokes. I was very good in telling jokes, so everybody was cracking laughing. Only my girlfriend was not laughing. And I married her so just to take her off from outside, just to see what's wrong with her. So I still haven't figured it out, but she's still not laughing at my jokes.
that's okay. It's the same with me. Or at least before we got married, she was laughing, and now, wow.
No, man, never, never. I probably have just told her one or two jokes that she laughed at, and anything else, no. But anyways,
All right.
um,
At least you have an audience, to test things out with. So I originally met you because I don't remember how we got introduced. I think we did through LinkedIn. And basically, you are in charge of an insane amount of companies, right? You have Scalio, which deals with basically, networking between service providers. You have Extreme Power Brands, which basically deals with, just like all,
partnerships in telecom.
exactly. And then you have also hellotax, which deals with VAT issues, And one of the things that I found interesting about hellotax so last week I actually met with Mac Begg from AMZ Advisors, and we actually discussed getting into the Latin America market. And hellotax deals with VAT with regards to the European market. So because I already dealt with the Latin America market, I was hoping that you could actually talk about the European market and getting into the European market and how difficult and crazy it is because of that. And also, I watched almost every single video that you do with Vova, Evan. So
Yeah,
I have
they're
a lot of
short. They're
questions.
short. Exactly. They're short for a reason. But to just to let you know what we do. So I mean, I might have like different companies, but all the things that I do, they're about e-commerce. So I used to be selling it in Europe for like 10 years. I was selling a private label supplements. Now, which is like a real story. Now we started with like 2K. Me and the other co-founders, and we did like 25 million in like 4 years. And eventually we did sell those business in like 2020 for, you know and actually we did very well. So we know from first-hand experience that Europe is a very good market, even right now, because USA is the biggest e-commerce market. It's always gonna be like that for the near future, but a lot of people and companies in the States don't understand that what they're doing in the States, they cannot 30 to 50% like an extra sales in Europe with a one keyword here, higher profit margin. And profit is what my wife is asking me about at the end of now. He doesn't ask me, okay, how much is your revenue? He said, okay, how much is your profit? I don't care about your revenue. I don't care if you're a 7 or 8 figure. I care about the figure, when there is the profit in your like balance sheet. So profitability is higher. And here is a stat which a lot of people don't know. 2% of US Amazon sellers are selling in Europe, only 2%, which means that
Wow.
98% of the sellers are not selling in Europe. And there is few reasons. First, the first thing they tell me, okay, Nick, we haven't maxed out. Okay, but what's stopping you to actually going to Europe and adding like 30-50% of what to do? The other reason is they're scared of Europe. And that's why I joke with them. Okay, man, how much did you spend on your European vacation? You went to like Italy, Spain, Paris. How much did you spend? And they say, okay, man, 10K. Okay. Do you know how much it's going to cost to expand Europe? Less than 10K. Probably 2 to 10K, depending on obviously what we're doing, etc. So, and I joke with them in my newsletter. That's what I'm telling. I'm showing in one picture Drake expand like spending 10K on like a EU vacation, and Drake is smiling like that. And then expanding your like Amazon brand Europe, and Drake is doing like that. You've seen the meme.
I've seen the meme.
But the thing is, this is true. Exactly, that's true. People don't go there because they don't know that there is a big opportunity, and because they don't know that it's not that hard. And that's what we've built with hellotax and my other company, Extreme Power Brands. We've bundled that into a package, because if you don't know, you're not gonna do anything. That applies not only in e-commerce and what we do, it applies in anything. If you don't know how to do something, you're just gonna drop it. You're not gonna try it. But if somebody tells you, okay, man, that's how we're gonna do it. This is step one, this is step two, this is step three, this is step four. You're gonna say, okay, man, let's go ahead and do that. But even sometimes this is not enough. If you show them the steps, they say, okay, but it's hard. Why should I bother? So that's why I invented something which I call it show them the money. So before we help out anybody to expand in Europe, we do the following. We take their Amazon store. They just send out their Amazon store like product or like just product idea. And then somebody from my team, sometimes it's Mike Beck and his team and the MZ advisors, they do we call it the expansion to you market opportunity reports. So in simple words, what we do, we take the top keywords about their products and we do a research in all the top markets in Europe, like UK, Germany, whatever, all the markets, and we can show them the demand. Now, what is the growth? What is the trend? Is it growing? Is it going down? And in most of the products is growing. And why is that? Because Europe is still early now. Even though the population is over 750 million, which is 2 times what you guys have in the States, it has the average order value, and Amazon is having only 20% market share and is growing, which means that you're early. Some people are saying what it is in Europe right now, it's what it used to be in the States on Amazon in 2016. So what we do with those reports is we show them this how much money you can make. We also show them here are your top competitors. A lot of times their competitors suck. They're not good enough, which means that, and the other thing a lot of sellers don't know, you can take your reviews from Amazon.com and you can use those in Europe. So in a matter of days or weeks, you can actually be on the first page. Because a lot of guys don't have their listing optimized. Now, a lot of guys you might be surprised, but I've met sellers doing several millions and they don't even know what is reimbursement in Europe, Amazon reimbursement. Well,
Yeah.
see, so we're how they call them aboriginals. No, we have no idea what we're doing. But the thing is, the market is growing, and Amazon is not as big of a player because there's a lot of marketplace. So it is gonna grow. But when we do those reports, we can easily show those brands what is the opportunity for them in Europe. And if you show somebody the money, as I call it, show them the money. If they see they're doing 10 million in the States, and you tell them, okay, you're gonna do minimum 2 million, max 5 million, they're gonna say, okay, man, how do I start? And then we tell them about the next step, which is the so-called unsexy steps, but they're necessary because you cannot sell without those. So the VAT, you cannot go without that. So you need to get VAT in one country at least. We recommend to have it in two because UK is outside of Europe after Brexit. So you need one in the UK because English is the language there, even though you still need to do some localization because in UK they call keying, for they say practice instead of training or vice versa. So I mean, to sell your stuff, you need to sound local. Otherwise, people are not going to buy your stuff. As simple as that. So you get VAT in those countries like UK and Germany. And the reason why I recommend Germany is the following. Germany is the second biggest Amazon marketplace. Before they used to be below, but after Brexit, everybody goes to Germany. There is no company which wants to sell in Europe on Amazon, and they skip Germany. So, and the Germans have done some other good tricks for sellers. So the one thing is they love Americans. They have a special tax authority which deals with US only companies, which means that the Turkish sellers which are in Europe, they wait sometimes 4 to 5 months. US sellers are gonna get the VAT in 3 months.
Wow.
UK companies, which is obviously they used to be in the EU, they wait longer than US companies. And a lot of US sellers have no idea about that. This is one of the main advantages. The other thing is you don't need translation. So the German tax authorities are going to accept your documents in English. You don't need to do any translation. So another benefit. Other thing that there is something which is called fiscal representation in Europe. In some countries, they require non-EU companies to have an insurance that they're gonna pay their VAT and they don't skip paying that like a lot of Chinese companies did in the past. They just burned the companies, they left the VAT unpaid. So that's why they apply that. But Germans don't require that, which means it's cheaper to get the VAT there. And
Wow.
exactly, and the last but not the least, Germany is in the center of Europe. I know I'm in Bulgaria. I just got like an order today. I had a call with another people order, and we just got an order from Amazon Germany. I was ordering some books. I got it and got them in like 3-4 days. So imagine for Germany to for US people to understand what is Germany, it's Austin, Texas. It's in the middle of Europe, so no matter where you're based, people ordering the stuff from there, you're gonna get it delivered at the same period as if you're in the States. And the other good thing is that Germany, when you actually set up like Germany, one VAT, you're gonna be able to sell across the whole EU, so you can enable all the marketplaces like Italy, Spain, France, Netherlands, and you don't need VAT in those numbers. Amazon is, if you go to Amazon, Amazon is going to tell, okay, guys, let's do the pan EU. Okay, man, what the heck? I mean, pan EU means like 5 or 7 VATs. Too much bureaucracy, you're going to give up before you start selling. So this is not the smart way. But of course, Amazon is making more peace like that. So instead of doing that, you can set up Amazon Germany is for the EU, Amazon UK for the UK, and you can start selling. Then you're gonna ship your orders from Germany to people like me in Bulgaria, Italy, Czech Republic, Poland, whatever. Of course, you're gonna pay a little more for the shipment, but you would avoid doing VATs in advance before knowing the demand. So once you see the demand, once you see how much money you're making, you'll say, okay, man, Italians love my stuff. I'm gonna set up VAT there, and you can kind of branch out like country by country based on demand. This is the smart way to do it. This is the smart and the economic way to do stuff. And this is the VAT. So the VAT is the must. The good thing about Amazon and expanding in Europe is that if you're a non-EU company, Amazon is gonna collect the VAT and it's gonna pay that to the tax authority. So you don't need to worry about that. hellotax is gonna do VAT registration. The founders are ex-Amazon sellers, so we've helped probably over 2,000 companies to expand to have like 25,000 subscribers. So that's our specialty, getting the VAT done, because without VAT, Amazon is not going to allow you to sell. So VAT is the first step. You start application for VAT, you're going to wait 2 to 3 months. In the meantime, you're going to handle step number 2, which is product compliance. If you're selling products in Europe, there's different requirements based on your product. So we have a partner who is handling that. For some products, there is something which is called like product compliance responsible person. So somebody would be responsible if you import stuff in Europe and sell it there, because on the label it would be their company. So they'll be the middleman between the clients and you guys. But it's a must as well. It's not mandatory yet, but Amazon is going to start applying that. So that's another thing that you need to have, and it takes from a few days to like 1 or 2 weeks to handle that. So this is the other thing. The third thing is like in any market, logistics. You need to get your stock from wherever you're based or wherever is your manufacturer to Europe. So we have 2 options for those. We have a partner who is doing, for everybody who is producing their stuff in China, they have a warehouse there, they hold their stock and they drip feed to the Amazon Germany FBA or UK or whatever FBA you're using on a weekly basis based on your sales volume. So in this case, you eliminate the need to spend a lot of money. So actually optimize your cash flow. Instead of making one big order, you can make like weekly orders. And of course, that's easier. And actually it's cheaper, of course, to do it. And the last thing that you do is like the localization and translations, because obviously you cannot just go and use Google Translate and just translate your listing. So we have a partner who's going to do that. So you guys and everybody else in the chain, they make money. Otherwise, if people don't understand what the hell you're saying, and they're not going to buy it, you say, okay, what the heck? And I have a partner who is expert in that, which we use. She's doing amazing case studies for some huge companies who are doing some like complete insane bullshit stuff when they expand Europe, and they're not doing very well. So even big companies are not actually looking into that seriously. So those are the 4 pillars of expansion: VAT, product compliance, logistics, and translation. And after that, there is no, if you're using an agency or if you run your brands yourself, it's pretty much the same. Of course, keywords are different. There are some specifics, because in Germany, for example, there is, I think, almost 10 million like Turkish speakers, So in Germany, you would need to actually use like Turkish keywords for your products, and you're going to get a lot of sales. So there is some specifics in each market, but in general, like I said, 750 million, the highest average order value in the world. people like quality stuff. So pricing is not the main thing, which means Chinese seller cannot just take you over here, just kick you out. People buy expensive stuff if there is a quality, eco-friendly stuff. And like I said, I mean, it's still early now. It's still early, and you can look into like 20, 50%. Now, like 2 weeks ago, I had a guest on the webinar. He runs like a profitability software. He's in New York, like you guys, and he told me that one of their clients is doing like, I think he said like 50 million, and they're doing like 50%, like 25 million in Europe. So this is another case. Our logistic partner, has an even more curious case. They have a seller doing 120 million only in Europe. So those guys haven't even expanded to the USA. So with the right partners, it's much easier, because keep in mind that because the volumes are less, there is less competitors, it's easier to actually go to first page, and it's actually not as competitive, which means that once you break it into the market, it will be a long-term revenue stream before everybody understands about the blue ocean opportunity here.
So let me ask you a few questions. So when it comes to Europe, now mind you, it's actually very funny. I used to be a localization project manager at a high-tech company here in Israel. I totally get the whole localization thing. It's mind-boggling. People just don't understand that there are actual different dialects, in different regions and stuff. And having a proper localization for the right, for right locale is insanely important. And so, but every single country in Europe, even if they're part of the Eurozone, still there are different rules, for each country, because each country still rules itself. They're just under an umbrella of the EU. When it comes to the products that are coming into Europe, are there any restrictions in terms of the type of products that are allowed to get into Europe? Or into certain countries, and you might run into certain issues, and therefore there are different countries in Europe that you should therefore put this information in instead.
Yeah, so actually we have partners who handle that. So I'm not an expert in product components, but this is the second thing that we check after the VAT. So once we do the first call, actually the first call is about the opportunity report, the VAT, then the next thing we send them to our product components. Of course, I had a guy who was selling like some like inflammable stuff. So there is no, I'm not sure what exactly you're not allowed to sell, but those guys, they have the so-called product compliance agency. So they deal only with this stuff. So we have people who can answer those questions, and if you want, I can connect to have a podcast with them so they can break it down for you guys. But I'm of course, you cannot import narcotics legally. No, that's not what I know for sure. So
Yeah, no, definitely not that stuff. But
yeah,
first of all, yes, I want their contact information. I want everyone's contact
yeah,
information.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
everyone should be
I'll do
using
that.
me. Let's talk instead about something that you had mentioned in one of the stuff that you were talking to with Vova, was with regards to the one-stop shop. And so I was wondering, how exactly does this one-stop shop work? Is it even worth it? And can you do it beforehand? If you can even explain what it is.
Yeah, sure, of course. No, I didn't mention that because I know that your audience is Amazon only, and Amazon sellers need to know about VAT, because OSS, this is how it works for Amazon, because I mentioned earlier that Amazon collects your VAT and pays that on behalf of the seller to the tax authority. The reason why they do that is because Amazon is the so-called deemed supplier in Europe. So they're responsible for collecting your VAT. So whenever you sell, it's a non-EU company, you sell to somebody across the EU, you're actually selling your product to Amazon, and then Amazon is selling your product to the end client via their OSS, which is the one-stop shop. So you're using Amazon's one-stop shop registration. So that's why Amazon is collecting the VAT, etc. But if you're selling outside of Amazon, let's say you're selling on Shopify or like any other your website, for example, and you're using a 3PL, then to be able to sell across the EU from one single location like Germany, you will need to set up an OSS registration in Germany. So OSS is like the VAT registration, which allows you to do like B2C sales and deliveries to clients across the EU. So the OSS is the registration which opens up the whole EU market for you when you're selling outside of Amazon. So let's say you have a Shopify store and you want to sell to everybody. So what happens? You start selling. Once you hit 10,000 euro, this is a threshold, you can opt in to register for the OSS in this market. Usually is the home market where you choose, Germany, let's say in this case. If you don't do that, you will be forced to do registration in any country where you hit the threshold. So OSS is eliminating the need to do multiple VATs when it's stored in one single location in the EU and fulfilled to clients across the European Union. So big companies who do like Amazon and D2C in Europe, they use VAT and they use one-stop shop for all the other sales for the 3PL. So that's how it works. So you do the reports quarterly, and of course, I mean but it's pretty much the same. Just is like a different model, which is done for EU companies, of course, to be able to hold their stock in a single country and fulfill to clients across the European Union. So it's easier right now compared to what it used to be. That was in 2021. It was applied in the summer. So it's much easier. And this is what OS is about.
Oh, I see. Okay. Now, with regards to entering Europe, right? Obviously, in my opinion, I'm the type of person that believes just enter every market you possibly can. But some people, especially Amazon sellers, some people probably shouldn't yet be entering the European market. Are there certain limitations you would put onto sellers to say maybe you stop, continue in the US, maybe expand to Canada, and then consider the EU? Like, for example, should there be a certain annual revenue that they should be making, or a
At the
product?
beginning, we thought that this is a requirement, but we've been seeing in the last year that this is not true because in some categories, like some like niches in the States, you're never gonna be able to make a dent because they're just the big players are there. They're not gonna lose market share. So sometimes you might be doing not that much in the States, but there might not be competitors for what you're selling in Europe. So that's why is the first step, or I even call it the zero step, because without the opportunity, there is no need for VAT in the rest. So we always do report. And sometimes we have people who are not doing just like few K, like probably like 50K or even less in the States. There is huge demand for what they're selling in Europe, and there is virtually no competitors. So that's why it's always good, regardless of the market, to do like a market research in advance, because sometimes you might be killing it in the States, but if nobody has heard about your product, you need to create demand. If there is no demand on Amazon, nobody's gonna buy your stuff. If nobody's searching for you, you're gonna make more money. So that's always we need to do like a research and to see what is the opportunity. So we never make assumptions. Before you used to make assumptions about the size of the company, but now send us your Amazon store. We're gonna do research for you. We're gonna show what is the opportunity, which is the best market, and you can just make a decision. We can help you out further. So we never make assumption, to be honest, and because that's what we've learned from doing that. No, you always need to double check what is it for you and what is the opportunity, and then we can actually plan further.
So we've been talking about the U.S. market. What about the Canadian market? It's technically different from the. Some people like to say U.S. and Canada. They're technically different markets. Would you recommend the same thing to a Canadian market, or is there different rules for Canadians entering the European market?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, we've never moved. I think we've hit only a few Canadian companies who expand to Europe, because what they do is they always go to the States. So, so the rules that I told they apply for anybody who is non-EU. So the only thing I'm not sure for Canadians, if they have the special treatment like the US companies have in Germany. When I say special, I don't mean that they're getting anything like for free or like quicker. Just there's less demand than Chinese or UK companies, so they get it quicker. So that's why I know anybody who is non-EU, the same rules applies for them. Germany is still the best market. Of course, if you're not English speaker, they will need the translations. But everything else is still valid. So it doesn't matter where you're based. Germany is the place to go, especially after Brexit, and because of all the other tools, and the main reason is because Europe and Amazon is still early. Poland is is the neighboring country to Germany. Poland has a population of 40 million. They have only 2 million users on Amazon. 38 people are not shopping there yet. So many of the markets are still not Amazon is still not the biggest marketplace, and I told you 750 million. No, I mean 750 million. 2% of your competitors are not selling there yet. So average order value is the highest in the world. So I'm not sure. No, I probably just need to stop and I'm not gonna say anything. If that doesn't convince you, I'm not sure what is gonna convince you. And we're seeing like more and more US sellers actually coming to us and telling us, okay, man, how can you help us out? And once you show them the opportunity, and they see, of course, this is not the USA. The market is fragmented, but the market is growing and is not as competitive, which is the one thing that you would like to hear. If the market is super competitive, no matter how much money you're burning, you're not gonna make anything. So, and the idea at the end is like we summarize in what my wife believes in. Profit is the king, or the prince. Let's say profit is the prince. So we have PMP.
That's amazing. All right. I guess, this is gonna be the last question. Since, we're limited on time. Unfortunately, I wish I could talk to you for 6 hours, probably 2 days straight. But if that isn't enough, right, to basically tell someone, hey, go to Europe, how else can we get the word out to Amazon sellers to tell them, hey, like there is plenty of opportunity for you that you probably don't even realize, in Europe, like go and do it. What would be the one liner that you would say to them, or the three
Yeah, I
liner?
mean, yeah, what I'm telling them is 98% of your competitors are not here yet. So that's the one
So get
liner.
in there first.
Exactly. No, that's it. I mean that's what everybody needs to hear. I mean, if you're the first, I mean, I've been selling in Europe for 10 years. I was paying 1 cent per click on Facebook and Google Ads selling supplements. And the reason why we did that because we're the first. Now I don't care how much they pay, and I don't want to hear it now. But the reason is because we were first, and then we expanded in a lot of markets, and one by one, we made a ton of money because we're first. And of course, though, some people say, okay, I mean, it's different. Of course, it's not easy, That's why we build the expansion package to make it easier, I'm not gonna fool anybody, It's harder than the States, but like I said, no, less competitors, like bigger profits. That's it. And it's gonna get better and better here because the European Commission is gonna make it even easier. So eventually it's gonna make when it becomes easier, they're gonna open the floodgates and everybody's gonna come into Europe. So the idea is to come when it's not as easy as it's gonna be in the future. So that's it.
All right, guys, you heard it here first, or maybe you heard it somewhere else too, but we'll pretend you heard it here first. You got to get into Europe because 98% of your competition just ain't here. So come to Europe really quick and make sure to use hellotax to get there.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
just come to us now. Send us your story. We're gonna tell you if you should bother. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna make fairy tales. I mean, if there is no demand, there is no demand. There is no money to be made. But if there is demand, you should consider that because somebody else is gonna make them instead of you. So as simple as that.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Nick, for your time. I know it's really precious, so I really appreciate you coming on board. Thank you so much. I hope
Thank
you
you,
have a good
David.
day.
Yeah, and all the